Hello nerds, geeks, and gamers. Welcome back to Canadian Nerd Talks. I'm your host, Mike. Right here, I got another guest with me, Michael Chan.
Hey, I'm Michael Chan. I'm an actor from Toronto, and I've been gaming since I was a kid playing my joystick on my Atari.
What's going on? Just hosting the show as you?
Wait, I thought you were... Wow.
As a friend, how dare you? All right, guys, welcome to Canadian Nerd Talks. Tonight, we're talking about video game adaptations. Joining me is my brother, Brandon.
Hey people, how's it going? Lover of games and a lover of movies.
And Mike Chan.
Hi, I'm Michael Chan. I've already made a joke about joysticks, so I'm into games.
All right, awesome, guys. Great intros. Really, it was great.
Still can't believe you're brothers.
How dare you? All right, so tonight, as I said, we're talking about video game adaptations.
right.
There's a lot coming down the pipeline. From the Ratchet and Clank movie, we also have, the Assassin's Creed movie coming out with Michael Fassbender. We have Warcraft.
Yeah.
And then we also have the Angry Birds movie, which at first was a little bit weird, but if you've seen the trailers, is funny. Exactly. All right, guys, so let's start off with Ratchet and Clank. What are your thoughts of it after seeing the trailer, because we haven't seen it yet? And how do you feel like it's gonna do? Because it is a very kid-targeted movie.
I feel like it might hit you more like a Big Hero 6, in a sense, that it's gonna bring in a lot of the kid audience that may have been lost over the years when it came to the games.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go into this. I feel like it's gonna be a good movie. They might enjoy it.
Okay.
And then that's gonna bring up their volume with game sales towards the games, because then you go into merchandising and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to fully admit that I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, so I'm just going to come at this from someone who's only seen the trailer. And
just as the movie itself.
yeah, and I was not impressed. The trailer didn't get me excited.
Yeah.
The jokes fell flat for me. In a way, it reminded me of the Minions movie trailer. The trailer didn't get me excited, and I love Minions in Despicable Me, by the way,
yeah.
but it didn't get me excited about the movie. And then I went and saw the movie and was really disappointed. All their best jokes were in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I fear that based on what I saw, that's probably what's gonna happen, and their jokes weren't that good for Ratchet and Clank anyway.
I feel like not a lot of people know about Ratchet and Clank, really just video gamers. But again, it's an animated movie, and we see these things kill at the box office and at theaters, so it's gonna make some money.
My niece is gonna love it.
Exactly.
Like that I know.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna bring the kid audience.
Yep.
And they've been working on this thing for years. Like, we've known about this for 3 years now.
I think roughly, yeah.
Exactly, saying it's not a Pixar, so we'll see how it overall does. Next off, let's talk about Angry Birds, sticking with the kids theme here. A movie that I didn't even know you can make into a movie, a game, you know? You take birds and you shoot them at pigs and everything else. So what do you guys think about this Angry Birds movie? I think it has like a cast of like Seth Green or Seth Rogen, or
I think Bill Hader's also in
Bill
it.
Hader's
Yeah.
also in it, yeah.
I like the aspect that they're giving them personalities. It's going to connect people a little bit more to them. One thing I noticed from the trailer is that the red bird, near the end, you can see him doing breathing exercises. So in a sense, he's working on his anger. So you know he's going through some therapy.
Yeah.
In a sense, but yeah, I feel like the personality, if they do it right, it's really going to engage a lot of people, make them more connected towards them instead of it just being a slingshot game about birds.
My fear is that at this point, they're just making movies for everything, right? I mean, really, do we need an Angry Birds movie?
No.
There are way better video games out there that they could be making movies for. Angry Birds isn't one of them, and this is coming from an Angry Birds fan. I'm terribly worried about this. I just don't see this going anywhere.
All right, so off that, we're finished with the kids' movies. Now we're getting into Warcraft. And this is a game that I grew up with. You've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Living with me for so many years.
I have action
For
figures.
the action figures, for the horror, Warcraft. It's finally happened. It's being done by David Bowie's son, Duncan Jones. Great director, source code, everything else, Moon. What are your guys' thoughts of it? I'm gonna say my thoughts afterwards, but I want to get what you guys think. Brandon, how about you?
Well, let's see here. They're starting off with the very beginning of the whole Warcraft storyline.
Because it's Warcraft, not World
Well,
of Warcraft.
well, that's
Yep,
the thing. It's not World of
exactly.
Warcraft. It's not Warcraft 3, which that goes into a darker storyline.
Which
But
you're more familiar
well, I'm familiar with. But it's the beginning of the whole Warcraft storyline with the orgs and the Alliance and all that. So with this being another beginning movie, like keeping up with what I've been saying before, is that right now you're going to bring in a different audience. You're also going to bring the fans, because the fans is what the big purpose of this is all about.
Yeah.
But you're also going to bring in the newcomers who don't really know too much about the storyline of Warcraft, because it's a deep storyline that you're going into. So you're going to start from the beginning. You're going to introduce all these characters that people will now get familiar with, and hopefully fans will see that the studio and the company did them justice with the way that they portray them.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
Yeah. When I first heard about this movie, prior to seeing the trailer, I was worried. I was really worried because I didn't want it to be just another fantasy film. And let's be honest, it could have gone that way.
For some people, this is their Batman and Superman.
Exactly.
When it comes to video games,
Mm-hmm.
Warcraft is huge.
I mean, they could just have like some kind of low budget thing with horrible orc makeup and clang, clang, clang swords,
Yeah.
magic, whatever. But I felt after watching the trailer that the trailer at least was a slam dunkin'. It got me really excited, and as a fan of the lore, the world, the characters, it was just amazing to see it come to life, and come to life so well, because the trailer features some amazing makeup work, some amazing CG.
Yeah, some great talents. You mean the mocapping,
Mm-hmm.
Toby Kebbell, Travis Fimmel from Vikings,
Yeah.
everything else like that.
And the orcs looked realistic, surprisingly. I could buy it. I could really buy the orcs existing. And it's the right, in my opinion, one of the right franchises to actually do a movie for, because you have the
Yes.
material to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, contrast this to Angry Birds, really.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you have with Angry Birds? You're just flicking birds at
And
pigs.
it's fantasy, and this is fantasy that can be done right.
Exactly.
Unlike other movies like Seventh Son, which I'm a huge fantasy fan. You get swords and dragons into a movie, I am there. And in a movie like Seventh Son didn't work, but this can work. Everything's there. You have the blueprint. You just need to follow it. And
Well, exactly the whole deep lore of the Warcraft franchise. So they have a lot to work with if they
Exactly.
do this properly.
For the Lord. All right, I think that's all we need to say about Warcraft. We're all excited for it. Next up, let's talk Assassin's Creed. That comes out at the end of the year. Michael Fassbender, a video adaptation for a game that's done wonders for the industry here, especially being a game done by a Canadian company, Ubisoft. So, what are your thoughts on Assassin's Creed? Let's run through it. Let's go.
Well, as far as I know, I like that they're not basing it completely off the game.
Yep.
Like they're making Fassbender's character a completely different character
Nice.
within the Assassin's Creed universe, which in that sense, they might be doing it right instead of basing off the game. Because if you base it off the game, then you run into a whole bunch of issues, expectations with fans and whatnot. But yeah, with this whole thing about making him a new character, a different character that might coincide with the storyline of the game, it should work out this way.
For me, I mean, I understand your point of view about having him be a new character, but we've seen in the past when they've gone new with video games or comic books or any adaptation where it really just didn't work, like Super Mario. Like, what?
Doing what?
Or
That
Doom?
helps.
Or Doom?
Yeah, well, let's segue into that. Video game movies that didn't work. What are your thoughts? You mentioned Doom, Super
Yep.
Mario.
Yeah.
Street Fighter didn't work. Legend of Chun-Li. Oh dear God, don't even get started with that. For the old fans out there, Double Dragon didn't work.
Nope, Double Dragon did not work. The Street Fighter movie, I enjoyed it, but it didn't work.
The original one or Legend of Chun?
Oh, no, not Legend of Chun-Li, sorry, the one of Jean-Claude Van
Jean-Claude,
Damme.
exactly.
It was a terrible movie,
was.
but it's a guilty pleasure.
That's fine. That's what guilty pleasures are all about. For me, we mentioned it before when we were talking off camera. Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Unfortunate. Like again, it wasn't like the first one was a masterpiece, but it was fun. And Annihilation was just terrible across the board.
Most of the Resident Evils. I like the first
Most
one.
of the rest of it, exactly. But they make money, and that's why they keep on putting them out there. Because
People love their zombies.
I love Mila Jovovich.
all right, so let's jump into now video game movies that did work.
I still think in a sense, Advent Children, Final Fantasy, I think that worked with the,
Absolutely, yeah.
because they kept with the animated CGI aspect and didn't make it a live action film. I feel like if they did a live action film, it wouldn't have worked out the way it did.
And they
I
picked
agree
a
with that.
popular Final Fantasy video game franchise that everyone really liked, which was 7.
Yep.
So it worked, even though it wasn't a theatrical release, it was still.
It was still good, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
All right, guys. So just like before, like we usually do, we did a poll, and we wanted to gauge what is the movie at the 4 that we talked about you guys most want to see. For Ratchet and Clank, we got about 20%. For Angry Birds movie, we got 5%. For Warcraft, we got a strong 45%. And for Assassin's Creed, we got 30%, which is all around pretty good and pretty much how we feel.
Well, we only got 5 on Angry Birds because kids can't have Twitter.
So going based off this, what people want to see at the 4, what is a video game adaptation that you want to see for a video game that hasn't been done before?
I would like to see any part of the Infamous series turn into a movie.
Cool, yeah.
Like Second Son had a good storyline. The first Infamous movie, first Infamous game had a really, really good storyline.
Yeah.
And there's a lot for them to work on that.
Exactly.
So I'd love to see that.
Nice.
I want to say Diablo,
Yeah.
but because we already have a fantasy movie in Warcraft, then I'm going to switch to StarCraft.
Nice.
That has a lot of lore.
Yeah.
It's sci-fi. It could be amazing.
With technology now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, guys, so that was our episode on video game adaptations. Make sure you leave a comment down below of what you want to see out of those video games, and also follow and subscribe to us over at The Canadian Nerd. From all of us here, it was great having you, and we'll check you next time.